we get a consistent, base of clients coming in, or prospects at least. Back then, we were only relying on cold email, and sometimes it goes up and down. And now we just know, okay, we can do this just to get clients or prospects or meetings on autopilot, and that's been really key.
That's awesome, man. I guess for each of you guys, like, how are you using client ascension like today at 30K a month to 40K a month? How are you using client ascension on a weekly basis to extract the most value? What's going on, guys? Andre Hakel Jr. here, one of the co-founders at Client Ascension, here with JP and Paco. These guys are absolute legends who have actually been featured on the ListKit channel way back, I think 6 months plus ago, and then after the fact joined our coaching program, Client Ascension, and their results are pretty amazing. We were actually just talking a bit about their journey through the program so far. When they joined back in March of this year, 2024, they're at around $15,000 a month with their email marketing and UGC agency. And then fast forward to July and August and now September, their best month since joining the program was around $31,000 in revenue. So that number doubled. And they actually had some contracts that were really close to being collected that could have pushed them past 40K in revenue. It didn't happen yet, but it's no doubt that they're right there pushing the 40 to 50K range in monthly revenue. So guys, welcome to the show. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. So just for the audience real quick, can you guys explain, like, first off, the dynamic between how you both work together? Because I'm super big on partnerships and working with business partners in general as like a way to fast forward your growth and also just increase the chances of success when setting out and running your own business. So talk about the dynamic, like what do both of you guys do in the business? And then if you could each share like one of the main drivers to success with what you do specifically for the business since we last talked on the list kit success story. So let's just start with Paco.
Yeah, so I handle everything with fulfillment. We run a digital agency where we help client with email marketing. So I do all of that stuff. And JP are the sales guy. So I'm more like backend and JP is more like the front end guy.
Awesome. And so on the fulfillment side, like what are some things you've done in the last couple of months to really speed up the growth of what you're seeing at the agency?
Yeah, so before working with you, I actually think we didn't have that much structure through our clients. So at the moment, we have a lot of more structure through when we onboard the clients to the communication also. So I think that's the biggest thing that has helped our business in that side of the business, right?
I can speak a little bit more about it. It's more about looking at it from a real business standpoint, other than just like a freelancing standpoint, and to get much more structure and process.
Yeah.
And what really helped us is that both the lead acquisition side of it, but also the operations side of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I can speak from experience on this. It's also kind of like what I teach in the program. I do weekly calls on operations and I run obviously Client Ascension and ListKit, the two companies we've mentioned already. Just in the past 30 days, those companies have combined for over 700,000 in revenue. And so like we're scaling revenue real fast. We have a pretty massive team that's pushing that. And so like that's what I'm teaching on these weekly calls and just in the program. And one of the things that really helped our growth is having processes and systems behind the fulfillment side of things. Because for most people, when it comes to like fulfillment and client services, they're just trying to not lose clients. They're basically trying to keep churn as low as possible, which is great. That's kind of like the first metric you want to start with. But there's more to client success and fulfillment. The other thing is like upsells. How can you get more out of your existing clients? Because if you could keep, 90% of your clients every month basically have a 10% churn rate, how can you upsell another 10% as well and cancel out churn so that marketing and sales doesn't always have to be the one bringing in new accounts and new revenue? And so, yeah, the more you start to systemize fulfillment and operations, the more consistent and stable your company becomes, and it makes JP's job on the marketing and sales side a lot easier because he doesn't have to pressure people into joining just to keep the business afloat. So yeah, JP, maybe some experience from your end on what that's been like.
Yeah, so mainly also something that helped us actually like our positioning and how we should frame our offer. And joining the, want to say like the sales calls has or coaching calls has been very big for me, because I want to say at some point when you start out, you have to like, push people down the throat of what your service is. we're in a position not to do that anymore, and I can stand by and when I have these calls, I know what we can do and what the potential is. And for some clients, we can refuse them because it's not a fit. So it's really great to have that, I want to say, like upper hand when you're on these sales calls. You're not like always chasing the clients that maybe are not as fun as to work with as some others.
100%. 100%. Yeah, man. And kind of talk about like before we obviously did an interview where you guys were talking about using cold email to do lead generation. What are some new channels that you've learned either in the client ascension program or you've just started to explore in general? I think you might have mentioned ads.
Yeah, so this is my side of it. We still do cold email, but there's been, as you know, Andre, there's been a lot of like not troubles, but challenges, if I could say it that way.
Mhm.
So I went on a lot of the calls with the paid ads and also the LinkedIn strategy. So most of our clients, we only advertise in Denmark. We haven't moved to the UK or the US yet, but it's something that we're looking into. But helping or getting help with like the paid ads and the setup, and also again like the structure behind it and how you can move strategically in terms of getting leads from Facebook and paid ads. It's been a massive game changer because I think everybody, as long as they're doing some kind of profit, they have to reinvest it into their own marketing and acquisition channels. So I run a bit on LinkedIn, just organic, and then it's paid ads, and obviously our cold emails are still running. Still looking to introduce, organic content and maybe some DMs and what, other possible solutions out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And what have you seen on like the sales side of things in terms of like selling your offer? Like has your offer changed at all since you've joined the program? Has your sales process changed at all? Like I'd imagine with opening new lead generation channels, like the leads that you get from email are a lot different than probably the quality of leads you're getting through ads. So like how have you navigated that part of it?
Yeah, I can speak a little about on the ads. Maybe Paco can speak about the offer because that was one of the first things that Client Ascension taught us what to do and what not to do. But definitely, like cold email still has some great, and ListKit still has some great tools, I want to say, if you can target the people that you want to meet with. It's kind of the same with the ads because you get a lot of bad leads with ads. You get some kind of bad leads on cold email. I guess it's, that's the game. You have to do a qualification process that's up to par, but the main thing again is like having something to lean upon in terms of introducing some of these like questionnaires and the qualification processes that has really helped us in terms of booking the right meetings and not just taking every single meeting in our calendar to not waste time. That's definitely been some help. And then Paco can speak about the offer.
Yeah, about the offer has been really helpful with your guys on the side because before working with you, we don't really have some offer or guarantee or something like that. But at the moment, you helped us with the guarantee and the offer as well. So we get more leads at the moment because we have a new offer that we doesn't have in the past.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean the offer always has to evolve too. So like how have you guys positioned yourselves? Because email marketing is super competitive. Like how have you guys positioned yourself to be like you're not the only ones sending cold emails, you're not the only ones running ads to an email marketing offer, especially not even in client ascension alone. So like how have you guys kept a competitive advantage over some of your competition?
Maybe you can help me explain, JP.
Yeah, I mean, so in Denmark at least, and we know the guys Victor from Opsia, Andreas, and obviously they don't advertise in Denmark, which we find a bit funny, but that's another side of it. So at least in Denmark, it's not as competitive as it could be in maybe UK and the US.
Mhm.
So we haven't really begun to explore like the difference as we could have in the US market. So I don't want to say we don't have an advantage. We just, push an aggressive offer out to the market in Denmark. A lot of people are new to this. So it just helped us with having a strong offer actually. On email, I'll reach out to every part of the world for the English speaking countries, right? And there's definitely something there that is way different from what you do on your paid ads, but it kind of, again, like it's similar because what you can use on your cold email might always work on your paid ads.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't always translate, right? Because you're speaking to a different crowd. You're speaking maybe to the same audience, but you're speaking to them in a different environment, right? And
Yeah.
so those are like the nuances that, yeah, like you can learn on your own, but I feel like being in a program like Client Ascension, you get to speak to a whole bunch of people who are currently testing and playing around with messaging and offers on all different platforms like ads, like content marketing, like cold email. And so you kind of get a faster answer as to what works and what doesn't. Because especially when you're scaling and like, what does your guys' team look like right now, by the way? So it's you two, obviously, as the co-founders, but what does your team look like outside of you two?
Yeah, so it's me and JP, and we have an external partner doing a conversion rate optimization, and one guy handling the cold email actually. So yeah, we're still a small team.
That's awesome, man. So you guys are super lean if you're just operating, $30,000 a month with like three people. That's awesome. Like one of the things that I was just getting to is like you have to really be careful on how you spend your time, right? Like your time has to be spent on like the highest leverage things because you only have so much time. And so if you could get faster answers from experts in client ascension that like us, we're spending over $150,000 a month on paid ads, like we know where to focus time and energy on the ad side of things. Or guys like David who can help you with the sales process, like why spend time following up with this lead when you could have closed them on the initial call or just in the first follow-up email? So there's just a lot of insights you can get from being in the program that you would have otherwise had to figure out on your own.
Yeah, also one thing, it prepares us because we were looking to hire at some point actually, but then we have I don't know what it's called in English, but like a shift in the company. So we went from a like small company to what you call like an LLC, I think,
Hmm.
and that made it possible to hire and get this sorted in the right way. And so it prepares us is something that we're looking into, but doing all these and with you, Andre, your modules in the client ascension, like if we haven't had that, we wouldn't know how to hire and what to look for. So when we eventually do it, I feel like we're prepared for making the right call.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough in business. Like you said, you're running this. It's probably funny if we go back and watch the interview I did on the List Kit channel of like your guys' success with just getting started with cold email. You guys are probably running the business a lot differently today than you were months ago. Just being able to see the growth just in how the business is run overall, like being more professional, being more organized,
Yeah.
implementing some of these things you're learning in the modules. That's awesome.
Yeah, we get a consistent, base of clients coming in or prospects at least. Back then we were only relying on cold email and sometimes it goes up and down, and now we just know, okay, we can do this just to get clients or prospects or meetings on autopilot, and that's been really key.
That's awesome, man. I guess for each of you guys, like, how are you using client ascension like today at 30K a month to 40K a month? How are you using client ascension on a weekly basis to extract the most value, starting with JP and then we'll get to Paco? Like, where are you finding the most value in the program?
Yeah, for sure. So for me, at least with the front end, I can kind of compare it, Andre. So Pacco is Andre. I'm probably like Daniel.
Yep.
And a lot of the things that I use is the front end stuff. I'm religiously, attending the sales calls. I try to make the growth marketing calls, the paid ads calls, seven-figure agency roadmap, like what really matters to me. And then I don't want to say I abuse the channels or the coaches' DMs. But whenever something comes up, also with Mario on the mindset, like I told him once that just having him in the program has made it worth it for me at least. And this is on a private side of it, which also like translates to the business because private business, well, it kind of ties together, right? So for me, I try to attend as many calls as possible and just hunt down the coaches in the DMs whenever I have something that I need answered.
That's awesome, bro. Yeah, dude. I always say, like, especially as a smaller business, early on, every personal problem or every business problem is if you unwrap it more and go, further down the layers, it's a personal problem, right? Personal problems kind of like show up in client situations, they show up on sales calls, like because it could be a confidence thing, it could be like you're not fully focused kind of thing. And that's something Mario's extremely helpful with. And I know you guys are going to be out here in Tampa in a couple of months for the event we do every single year. And Mario will actually be here as well, all the way from South Africa. So that's a big deal for me, especially because I work with Mario and all the students that love Mario and have been going to his calls since they're in the community. That you'll be able to obviously finally meet him in person, spend time with him, and he's going to deliver a keynote as well, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, I think for me, it has been a good program because at the moment we have a lot more structure, as JP was talking about, but also on the fulfillment side, if I have any question about email marketing or anything about the fulfillment, I can get an answer really fast. So yeah, that's been useful for
Yeah,
me.
I guess to that point, Paco, have you connected with other email marketing agencies in the program? I think you mentioned guys like Victor. Like, how has that been helpful? Because some people, or most people, I should say, would look at that as like you have competitors in the program and you want to stay away from them. But in Client Ascension, it's a completely different vibe where it's like even if you offer the same thing, you guys are able to find ways to work together and help each other, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, actually, the guys in Client Ascension are really helpful if we need anything. Also, about Victor, I think JP, did you know him before we joined?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I think I watched your case study with Victor and Opsia. Uh, and I think I reached out to him and said, are you in Client Ascension? Like, I don't know any like Danes in that program. And
Yeah,
that's where it kind of started.
that's crazy. So he's
Yeah,
also where you guys are located, and he's also coming to the event with his business partner, I believe. Are you guys
yeah,
all coordinating like your travel over here then?
No, but we're meeting them because we're flying from different parts, but we're in the same town in Copenhagen. So we'll meet them over there and see where it leads to.
Dude, that's so cool. That's so cool. Man, it's cool like how a program like that can just bring so many people together. You'll see at the event too. Like the event is gonna be game changer for you guys. Because
yeah.
have you ever been to like an event with a bunch of other people that do like online business or agency stuff?
Not at this scale, I think. We had one in Denmark for like 2 years ago, but yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, it was more like rookies, and it was in Denmark. We haven't been to the US before. We haven't been outside of Europe, so we're just looking
Hell yeah.
forward to like
Yeah.
massively.
What's your guys' goal? Do you have any goals, like revenue goals or anything like that before coming to the event?
I don't think we have anything before like the event, but when we joined and we spoke with Andy, love Andy. Andy is the best ever. I have to say that. And I think our wig, like wildly important goal, that was 100K before May 2025. That was like, let's see if we can do that. So that's like the like
That's the
North
main
Star.
goal still. Yep.
Yeah,
I love that. And I
exactly.
mean, if you look at your guys' growth trajectory, you're on track to hit that and maybe even sooner. Because I've seen guys like usually like 30 to 100K is kind of like the fast track. And so, like, you're in that range now where as soon as you start finding certain channels that work for you for lead generation and whatnot, like, you can really start to see pretty fast growth. Because for us, at least with our agency, a couple of years back when we were doing Knowledge X, the cold email lead generation, we got to like 30K. We might have got up to 40K, maybe close to 50K. And we kind of got stuck for a little bit. But once we cracked the code, it was from like 30 to 100K, like
Mhm.
within a month or two, like pretty instant. Just because it's just like a growth phase that I think once you crack the code on how to grow from 30, you basically just go all like straight up to 100K without too much friction. And then obviously presents new challenges on how do you stay there and how do you keep it growing. But yeah, so I'm excited to see. I think you guys can hit a fast growth trajectory here before the end of the year. And I know for you and your clients as well, like this is busy season because of all the holidays and the different promotions you can run through, what you guys actually offer them. So that's got to be exciting.
Yeah.
Awesome. One of the last questions I'll ask you guys is one of my favorite questions to ask successful client ascension students. Is like, what would you tell to a student that's in the program right now that's sitting there saying to themselves, like, man, like I wish I was getting as much value from this program as these guys are? Because there are people that go through a coaching program, and there are even people that sign up for your offer to be a client that just don't get results, right? And at least in a coaching program, a lot of it has to do with how you go about the program and how you use what you have access to in the program to get results for your business. So, like, what's something that you guys feel like if you just do these few things when you join the program and you have a good offer and you're working hard, you should get results? Like, what comes to mind for you guys?
Just show up to the calls, and if you need any help, just reach out to one of the coaches in there.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's one thing also, like, listen, I have a thing, or in the past, I was like, well, if he tells me to do this, I might do it another way just to prove him wrong and just to see it if I can do it my way. But there's the thing that when you join a program, you're learning from the best, you're learning from people that are above you or where you want to be at least. and just to listen and implement what they say has been like, I want to say that's been the main thing, to come back to say, hey, what should I do? JP, do this. Pacco, do this. Come back 1, 2, 3 weeks later and let's see what is done. And it's just show up to the calls, do the program, watch the modules, and just work your ass off. Like that's it.
Yeah, without an ego, because I think the ego gets in the way of like, oh, why should I listen to these guys? I think this way is better. And it's like, well, you're the one that's not where they're at. And so you should listen to the people that are at or that are doing the things that you want to do. It's a really simple concept. So yeah, just letting the ego drift away, putting that to the side and just implementing exactly what you're learning really fast and really aggressively, because like you said, it's a lot of freaking work. Like there's a lot of work involved. And so you don't really have time to sit there and ponder of like, oh, that doesn't really sound like it'll work. Let me think about it. Let me sleep on it. It's like, no, let me just implement this, see how it works. If it works, we'll do more of it. If it doesn't, we'll do something else. And it's like, that's got to be the mindset the whole entire time.
Yeah, and it's pretty simple. Like it is simple actually.
Yeah, it is. At the end of the day, the simpler you can at least look at it, the perspective you have on it, the more effective you can be with like what you do in the business on a day to day. Because you just move seamlessly throughout the business as before you're like overthinking every decision, which is never good. So, anyways, this has been awesome, guys. It's cool to do a second interview with you guys. Obviously, the one we did a couple months back was when you were signing up for ListKit for the first time and just getting into cold email. And so now you found your way into our full-fledged coaching program that is Client Ascension. And so, yeah, it's just awesome to see your guys' success. It's cool too to see that you're still, not fully there yet with your wildly important goal. And so we'll be doing a lot more work with you guys to get there. We're also pumped to see you and have you here in Tampa with us for our event. Those are literally just the highlight of what we do. So anytime we have someone coming out to an event, especially from overseas and someone who's never been to the US, that's so exciting. So outside of that, obviously you'll see some of these guys listening in, especially if they're in Client Ascension and going to the event, you'll see them in Tampa. But where else can these guys find you online and follow you? Because you guys do some great work as well for your agency clients.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. We don't do really much content, right, Pacco?
Yeah.
The only thing, Andre, at the moment is just me posting on LinkedIn. So, and that's obviously in English, but all our other content that's in Danish that, we're working on doing it in English in the future.
That's awesome. All right. All right. So if they are in Client Ascension, they should just message you right in Slack. I'd imagine you guys are pretty active in there with connecting with other students.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, guys, this is awesome. Like I said, super proud to see. Like, it's very rare that I'm able to have the same student on another case study this soon after the first case study I did with them. So I appreciate you guys for spending the time with me here today and just continuing to crush it while going through the program. So we're here to support, and maybe we'll be the first students to be on a third case study interview when you hit that 100K goal before May of next year.
We'll hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate your time.